Okay, today we're talking about economics, decision making. Of course, decision making is a science. You think it's a thinking process that you can do just on top of your mind. But as I mentioned to you along this course, decision making is a process that you can study and you can enhance. And there's even mathematical equation how to squeeze your choices and be able to go with the best decision that you can go with mathematically, away from feelings and other stuff that could affect you. Our objective will be able to understand the decision-making art, and we will try to make economical decisions based on comparing all our available alternatives that we could have in our application, in our field, in our industry, and so on. Now, engineering economy principles are very important for us as engineers. We use those to be able to make the right decision in the right time. And engineers always use those principles and make intelligent decisions as needed. We always, as engineers in the industry, in the market, having alternatives that we're going to compare and go with the cheapest, the best, and the most durable. That's your daily activity. Then always you need to keep in mind what's the cost versus the added value of the component or of the device that you are buying to the company. What are your other alternatives? And how would I choose which alternative is the best for me, cost versus added value? Cost is not always the main focus. Then the cost of the alternative product, as we mentioned, always change with time, and cost is not always the only deciding factor to choose a certain alternative. Then you always need to make sure when you have certain economical decision to compare your alternatives over the same length of time. If I have a machine, I want to buy it today, maybe it's made from some company or some country. I have another one which is cheaper, but maybe this machine will survive 10 years, as we mentioned about Toyota, while the other machine will survive only 5 years. Then is it a wise choice to go with the 10 years, which is a little bit more expensive, or the 5 years, which is cheaper today, but going to be expensive in the future on me? Then durability, of course, and life expectancy of the device or the machine should be considered. Now, we have an example here. For comparing alternatives. Okay, now we have two alternatives. Let's say you are a CEO at a car company, and the engineers came to you and said, hey, we've been doing the internal combustion engine for so long, and the market now is going towards electric vehicles. Then we want to decide, should we go with electric motor or should we stick into our internal combustion engine? You as a CEO, what would you, I'm more interested into the way that you're going to think about it more than the final decision. And by the way, this is a valid kind of comparison. Like Ford, they were forced into the market. Like Tesla did great in the market, and they were surprised that the millennials love the electric vehicles. But Ford been investing since forever with internal combustion engine. All their team, all their testing team, all their facilities are, they have gigantic testing stations where they can test those engines and be able even to do research and make that engine better. Suddenly, the market loved the e-vehicles. Like all the new generation love the e-vehicles, then they're going to compete in the market. And they're going to decide, should we go all the way electric, or should we go hybrid, or should we go with internal combustion engine? You are a CEO today. We came to you with this problem. How would you approach that? How would you think about it? We are corporate, and we have all the resources needed, mind-wise, money-wise, anything you want. Maybe time, not so much. Maybe we are challenged with time. So we learned that millennials, they use those vehicles mainly for work. Millennials are home animals. They stay home longer than any other generation ever. And they just want to go to work, plug it in, same as what they do with their phone, go to work, half hour, come back home, enjoy sitting home one more time. Then, yeah, there's some, of course, outliers. You can't generalize. There's some of them who love to speed, who love to go off-roading, who love to go crazy. But, of course, electric motor, you can maybe look into possibilities. As we know now today, Rivian company, they are designing mainly focused on designing trucks, which is electric based, and they give you the air pressure that you can add air to your vehicle Like the pump is embedded within the vehicle. There's a lot of tools, a lot of hideouts. It's designed for off-roading, even though it's electric. Maybe you can't go 10 days off-roading, but still. So yeah, your market mainly the employees, the guys who go to work or to university and back home. They don't want to spend so much on gas. They want high tech. They want it to feel as good as their phone, as convenient as their phone. The thing is, based on the many CEOs in the automotive industry, like having electric motors in the market is a golden opportunity for people to get into the business of automotive. Like they were expecting 5 years ago, they're gonna see new competitors who are designing electric cars that they never dream of. Like before, it's a magic to do an internal combustion engine. It needs a lot of history, a lot of art into it, a lot of details. Okay, you can replicate another engine, but to create your own engine, which is special and durable, that needs 20 years from now. You start today your company. 20 years, maybe you have reliability in your engine, maybe not. So, like there's legacy into the internal combustion engine. There's a lot of research, a lot of money, a lot of funding been poured into it academically and industry-wise. But this guy is too simple. Of course, we have electric motors in the market since forever. We have something called variable frequency drive, or VFD. Those are kind of high-powered electric motors that you use to spin maybe, you are doing many applications in that, especially in the automation of the industry and factories and stuff like that. So yeah, that kind of mentality, IC, by the way, if you heard ICE engine, it's internal combustion engine. They call it ICE recently, I don't know why, but then e-motor, electric motor, he could be anything. He could be DC motor, he could be variable frequency drive, he could be any kind of electric motor, but just you need a chassis and you need a little small transmission, not very complicated, and your electric motors. You can have 2 on the rear wheels, front wheels, or have 4 all over your wheels, and you'll get a car. The rest is easy. But yeah, the mentality, the way you look at it, maybe you go back to the engineering design process that we studied earlier and keep that in mind while looking into such kind of problems. For comparing alternatives, you have 2 main methods for comparing. First, you need to know, here we're talking more into economy than engineering, to be honest. So you need to know what's the present worth and what's the average annual cost while comparing your alternatives. And you need to find equivalent uniform annual cost for each. And investors need to make decisions based on the profit then venture produce per year. You're having investors coming into your company. They want to be part of your company, help you and give you some money to kind of increase your capital and be able to expand your factory. In this case, they need to know that they can bring back their money that they give it to you. Now, having an example here, consider the purchase of 2 CAD softwares. Now, assume the annual interest rate is 12%. System 1, you got the initial cost to be 100,000. System 2, it's 65,000. Maintenance and operating cost is 4,000 per year for System 1, and it's 8,000 per year for System 2. Salvage, like you sell those machines, and you get back some money on them by salvaging them, as you do for your vehicle. That would be 18,000 after 5 years for System 1, 5,000 after 5 years for System 2. Using each of the 3 methods below, compare the 2 CAD systems and offer recommendations. Now, if you want to confirm or compare the annual cost for System 1 and System 2, of course, you're going to know initial cost, that's what you're paying. Maintenance and operating cost, you're paying 4,000 per year. And you're getting back your salvage, so you need to know what's the annual cost. Now, for the annual cost, how would we do that? Using our installment loan equation. I called it out for you so that you'll not be confused. So that's the equation for installment loan. We're going to use that. So for initial cost, we have P, 100,000. How many years? 5 years. The I is 0.12. It's given to us 12%. Now, what would be your A? If you calculate, your A would be $27,000 per year. That's your annual cost. Now, you have maintenance and operation. That's $4,000 per year for System 1. And for System 2, same thing. You have your P, 65,000. Your interest rate is 12%, 5 years. Your A would be 18,000. Then the third one is your salvage. Your salvage is money. So those are costs, things in minus, while the salvage is a money coming back to you. Now, with the salvage, you would use the sinking fund equation. F equals A multiply plus I to the power of n minus 1 over I. Our F is 18,000, as they mentioned. The interest rate is 12%, 5 years. So you're going to get back to your pocket $2,833 per year for System 1 and $787 for System 2. Having those in mind, going back in the previous slide, so you can have, so you want to decide. So I have initial cost, 27,000 for System 1 and 18 for System 2. Maintenance and operation per year is 4,000 for System 1, 8,000 for System 2. And our salvage will get back 787 for System 2 and 2,800 for System 1. So which system is less expensive in this case? Obviously, System 2 is less expensive. If the cost is our main comparison, then we would go with System 2 because overall it will be less expensive for us. Now, for the second way, if you want to compare present worth, you're going to use again the installment loan. So your initial cost is 100,000 System 1, 65,000 System 2. And maintenance and operation, you use installment loan. P would equal to A and the equation. A here would be $4,000 and interest rate 12% on 5 years. P would be $14,400 for System 1 and would be $28,800 for System 2. This salvage, you would use the compound interest, the simple equation of compound interest that we learned before. P equals F multiplied by 1 plus I to the power of minus n. You have your I, N, and F as 18,000 for salvage. So your P would be $10,000 will be back to you in System 1 and $2,000 will be back to you in System 2. Now breaking down those two systems into our table, you have 100,000 and 14 as cost minus 10, that will be costing you $104,000 for System 1 and $91,000 for System 2. Obviously, if cost is your main comparison, System 2 is less expensive for you with all the factors considered. Now, if you want to take future worth as your main way, like I want to know which one worth better or worth more in the future, you would think about it as an investment in real estate or something. So you had initial cost. You use the simple compounded equation, F equals P multiplied by 1 plus I to the power of n, and your I would be 12%. Your future worth would be $176,000 for System 1 and $114,000 for System 2. Maintenance and operation, you would use the sinking fund equation to find that. That would be for System 1, 25,000 and 50,000 for System 2. Salvage will bring you back 18,000 for System 1 and bring you back 5,000 System 2. Put them both in the table, you realize that System 2 is less expensive to work with as a future worth. So you have two systems, two alternatives. There's a company doing potentiometer, you know, like the knob that you use to increase and decrease your volume in your vehicle. There is a potentiometer electronic component behind it that will increase the capacity and decrease it. So the circuit will understand that you want to increase and decrease the volume. So they have two alternatives for a new production machine with a capacity to produce 20,000 units per day. You have one alternative of high-capacity automated production machine that will produce 20,000 units per day when operated in 3 shifts per day. And you will have a quarter-time employee that assigned to the monitor machine. And those machines are kind of semi-automatic. Then the second alternative would be to use 2 manually operated machines, each capable of 10,000 units per day. And you have 3 shifts operation, which would give you 6 employees, 2 per shift and 3 per other shift. Now, if you break it down, cost of purchase, number of machines required, number of employees, expected lifetime of the machine or life expectancy, and your interest rate. If the labor costs are 40,000 per employee per year, recommend which alternative we should go with that will be cheaper for us and more durable. Of course, you will go with your installment loan to find your A. For alternative 1, it's going to be 74,000. For alternative 2 would be 29,000. Maintenance is 30,000 for the first and 20,000 for the second. Labor cost 30,000 for the first, but it's 240,000 for the second because it's not fully automated. It's operated by operators. Salvage value, how much money he gonna get back when he sell those at the end of the period? It's gonna be 6,900 for alternative one, 2,700 for alternative two, and the salvage here is found using the sinking fund equation. In this case, you compare both, you realize alternative one is cheaper for you with all being considered. And the main thing that harmed the factory here for cost is having more operators. Each one of them is having a salary of 40,000 a year. Now, another topic is depreciation and taxes. As long as you are making economic decisions in your companies, income tax is always an added cost to your product. If you rate your product to be $100 per product, then you have employees who are making those products, and when you give them $50,000 a year, that's plus tax that you're gonna pay. You pay and the employee pay to the government, so you keep that in mind as part of your cost if you wanna be very precise in your calculations. And the businesses always pay 35 to 50% federal, state, and local taxes of the company net income. US government taxes individuals and businesses so that it will be able to support the processes like lawmaking, infrastructure, and issuing or making the money itself. Tax codes are defined as set of rules that will outline how much should be deducted from your income, calculations, and acceptable depreciation of objects or real estate. Depreciation can be defined as a reduction in the property value, such as machine, building, or vehicle. Depreciation causes a positive cash flow, which is saving of income tax payment by decreasing the net income on which the taxes are based.